and welcome to the Business Spotlight. A great show for you today. You're going to love this. My good friend, Michelle Barr, is, I want to say she's a coach, but that would be a way understatement because she's one of the best co-creators I think I've ever met. She has the talent to help, well, you get where you want to go. And when I say that, I have to tell you, it's in a way that very few others have that ability. She started as what I call a big mercy, and now she's a huge exhortation, which basically means she's a transformational coach. Thanks so much, Michelle.
Thank you.
I'm really excited about today's show. I want to get into your story because you started as in kind of the feeling world, so to speak, and now you've come to where you're changing lives. So tell me your story. What's the route?
My story is I came to that point where I realized I was creating my life by default. So I had the job, had gone to college, have the husband, the kids, the house, and the other pieces of my life didn't look that great. I was in a marriage that was not good. I had a lot of toxic environments and relationships around me, and I wanted to start creating my life, a life that I loved. And it was a big shift for me. And I've always been a healer and a helper. And so I've had this journey of coming into that in different ways.
Now, you started in the mental health arena, didn't you?
Yes, I did. First, I was a mental health therapist. I went into hospital psychiatry, and while there, I wanted to bring in the spiritual aspect and really address that with people as part of these healing crises that people were going through. So then I went to seminary, and I became a hospital chaplain. And from there, I've moved into blending a mix of all of that so that I work with people on the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual, and have made my way to now doing a lot of coaching, speaking, teaching.
That's one of the things I've been really excited about because you really take people through a very laser process that helps them break through the stuff and whatever that might be in any area of their life. The thing that I was so surprised with is that you started in what I'll call I want to say a spiritual dimension of ministering to people. Even to the point that you told me that even in the mental institutions, that people would calm down just because they were near you?
They did. I have a way of working with people and with their energy and really feeling people. And so I was known when I worked in the hospital in the psychiatric unit to go and talk to and be near the hostile or violent patients, and they would calm down.
Now, the one thing I've seen you do it in many places that we've been associated with, is that because you're such a merciful person, you are not just easily approachable, but that you can walk up to almost anybody and touch them in their spirit. And if you want to call it energetically, and if you want to call it you change people. And the longer they hang out with you, the more stuff that changes in their life. So tell me a story about somebody that you've been able to bring from one place to another.
I think what it is that I have an ability to get really deep with people and to go into those deep places with them. So for instance, I have a client who was just rocking and rolling along in her life, and then her husband died tragically. And that puts a whole new spin on your job isn't as important when you've got all these other things you're building in your life. And suddenly she was alone, no children. Her corporate job just started feeling like a prison to her. And she came to me because she needed to find her spirit again and her purpose. And she was facing, fairly young, all these years ahead of her. And we worked together in my 90 days to transformation to really dig in and have her reconnect with herself. And there's the transition, there was the time for grief, but also what is the joy there? How could she add that back into her life? And then people start transforming. A lot of people put transformation off for the future. When I show them how you can add little pieces of what you love, and then it starts growing and multiplying, and 90 days later your life looks very different.
Well, that's the thing that's been so surprising to me, is that you had that I call it spiritual bolt cutting capability. But it's interesting because it's not just the mental arena. it's the physical, it's the financial. I mean, you've helped people co-create amazing, amazing things. So what are some of the keys to creating even some of the financial freedom that people want?
What I find is money ends up being a big issue, and we have a lot of emotional and mental things around that. And there's a lot of mindset work. Overall, when people come to me, the basic thing is they're operating out of their patterns, their thoughts, their behaviors, and their beliefs. And they need to really get in touch with that and make that conscious. I always say what's unconscious is driving the bus anyway.
Right.
And so make it conscious. And whenever you start reaching for a dream or setting a big goal or intention, that's when all your stuff comes up. And then we have all this mental and emotional clutter. And we can't then get connected to that still small voice and that part of us that's really us. And so I help people connect to that and clean out that garbage so they can start living more authentically, on purpose, who they are.
That is huge. Well, folks, today's show, the Business Spotlight, is really giving you hopefully some tips and tools that you can use to begin to change what's up here and bring in what's in your heart to create massive success for yourself. We'll be right back. And welcome back to the Business Spotlight. I'm your host, Patrick Dewar. My guest today, Michelle Barr, michellebarr.com. And I will tell you, it is a lot of fun today because you're learning tools on how you can create the life that you really want. Today, I want to know in this segment, Michelle, I want to talk about what you're doing to create the success you're having, not only for yourself, but for others. You're doing so many great things for others.
It's really important for me first to build community and build relationships and engage with people, because when you start working with people at that more intimate level and getting into their mental, emotional, and spiritual arenas and talking to them about their money and love and all of those things, you have to have a level of trust there, and you build that relationship. So I do a lot of engaging in relationship and building community. I'm a big connector of people. So I do that through my website. When you first come to my website, they're free resources, so you can get to know me and get to know what I'm about and my work, and then I can start getting to know you. And I'm very big on social media, on Facebook, and I'm actually there live every day engaging with people. I post a lot of motivational and inspirational and thought-provoking things. I'm very big on that, just getting people to look at something, one thing, just a little bit differently that will start some new awareness.
And get them to engage with you.
Yes.
When you are working with folks, I mean, you're doing a lot of different things. You're doing speaking at conferences. You've done, what are some of the things that you've done that are like that? Speaking, like this last weekend, I know you were somewhere, so.
Yes, I go to a lot of conferences so I can network and connect with people, and I'm very big on investing in my continued personal and spiritual growth and development, and then modeling that for others. I love speaking on telesummits. Last week I was on a Passion and Profits telesummit, talking to people about merging the two, and I do a lot of radio interviews, things like that. Just really getting the message out there and connecting with people is something I love to talk about.
Well, and I know that you've been on some really large ones. When I think of Passion and Profits, a lot of people don't really understand how valuable it is to be operating from a purpose, a point of purpose for your life. What are some of the keys that you install in others to get people to operate and live on purpose?
When you really connect with your gifts and your purpose, my belief is that's what we're here to do. So for a lot of years, if you look at my resume, I did a lot of things that I can do, but there are things that I'm made to do.
Right.
And until I stepped into what I'm made to do, I wasn't fulfilled. There was always that hole, and I would keep chasing that job. And I'd end up stepping into any job and then using my gifts, even if that's not what the job was for. And so I just see this awakening and this brightening of a life when people can live on purpose. And I believe that our true gifts, what really comes the easiest to us, is what we should be being paid the most for.
Well, I mean, there's even references that say, you know, your gifts make a place for you.
Yes.
So that's what it sounds like you're saying, is that you try to show people how to take their gifts, internalize them, use them, and then offer them back.
Yes, I have some people who come to me because they're feeling a calling and a purpose, and I've been there, and they don't know how to connect that, or that's something they do on the side, or they're going to get to. And they really need to start there and even just connect to their purpose. Then I have other people who are more firmly grounded in their purpose now, but they have a belief they can't make money at it. So then I help them create a plan and translate their purpose into a life plan and a business plan.
Well, and one of the other things that you're exceptionally gifted at is helping people monetize that and change first here with the, it's not just ministry that you don't have to get paid for. I mean, it's do what you love to do and send the invoice, okay?
Yeah.
That's the thing, right?
Yes, because I see so many people that want to use their gifts, and they have these beautiful gifts, and they're not sharing them because they're struggling so much. And you know, if you're struggling just to pay your bills and get by and working long hours, and you don't love what you're doing, you don't have the energy for using your gifts, and so you put that off.
Any clients that come to mind that really emphasize that process that you've been able to help somebody through?
Yes, because I had a client recently who came to me with a very similar vision to where I was 3 years ago. So I really knew right where she was and wanted to use those gifts. And I know, because I ran my first business, a very expensive hobby, and didn't make good business decisions. And so I was able to save her a lot of learning curve. The 18 months that I did that before I began creating a profitable business, by sharing with her, I saw her big heart. And that's the first thing. But then to monetize it and to make good business decisions while still having a big heart. We're givers. We want to give. People are hurting. But you actually empower people rather than continue to see them as victims when you allow them to invest in their own self-healing.
That's a huge, huge thing there, because a lot of people, they don't understand how powerful it is to invest in themselves.
Yes.
I mean, not only is a workman worthy of his hire, well, that's fine. But the fact is that if there's not a free exchange, a proper exchange of what I call energy, you literally are like, I think you were saying, basically it keeps them in victim mode.
It does, and I worked in victim services for a lot of years, but when you're seeing people as continually victims, it doesn't serve them. So there's a place for that, but you want to get them out of that cycle and into empowerment. That
is exactly right. Folks, we're gonna be talking more about who Michelle really is reaching and touching, who the message is for. And you won't want to miss it. You'll want to be right back, right after this message from our sponsors. Thanks so much. And welcome back to the Business Spotlight. My guest today, Michelle Barr, has been literally sharing tools, tips, techniques on how you can take your purpose, mix it with your passion, offer it into the marketplace, and then send an invoice. Really, right?
Yes.
So this time I want to talk about, in this segment, who it is that you're really trying to reach. Because your message, it isn't just for everybody. It's for people that have been stuck, but that need someone that can be that spiritual bolt cutter. Would that be fair enough?
Yes. My gift is really helping people get unstuck and get into action. And so the minute we get into action, all our stuff comes up, and we won't know what's really there, what those beliefs are and those patterns and programs until we get into action. So I've seen people who've been stuck for years, and I really come in, I work with people first that know they have a purpose. They believe they have a purpose, even if they're not yet connected to that. I help them get reconnected with themselves. And I tend to get a lot of people either a major transition, like the client who had the death of a husband, or another client of mine who had worked at the same job for over 30 years and just loved the structure and routine and was looking at, she was going to retire soon. She hired me to help her in that transition to what would her life look like after that. And she was ready to finally explore these gifts that she had not been using in that marketplace. So either transition of any kind or trauma. I used to work a lot in crisis and trauma, so I can go into those areas with people, but I'm also saying, now let's move forward. Let's process it and heal and move forward.
But you really have a gift of changing somebody's mindset.
Yes.
I mean, I've seen the effects of what you teach. Even as recently, you know, we saw something where you said, "This is what I want," and you were able to create it. And I think, you know, showing people that how to create things is a way cool idea. So tell us a little bit more about that process for you, and maybe some people that have been through it, other people that have been through your 90-day program and what's come out of that.
That's what I love the most is when people come to me. I think about one recent client I had, and I connected with her through Facebook, and she lived in Scotland, so way far away, and yet we were able to make this connection and work together for 90 days. And she just came, and everything about her life was heavy, and she felt very hopeless. And I'm able to start creating those little mind shifts that you'll even just open to the possibility. 90 days later, she had the job she hated. And once you start opening and allowing and creating, she had 3 huge job offers came in, took a new job. When you start designing your life, which is a big piece I'm about, took a new job that was going to pay her a lot more, let her work from home on her own terms so she could take care of her special needs son. And she had been trapped in this job where people were just abusing her. And just to see the transformation, and she started opening up, like adding things like going out with girlfriends again and doing things for herself, taking up a course. She finished her MBA, which she had been putting off that her job was paying for during those 90 days, then got a huge new job offer, created new relationships with her son, because again, all our relationships are mirrors of what's going on inside of us. So this starts hitting your entire life and all the pieces at once. So creating a vision of what you want to live.
So what it sounds like is that not only are you that stone in the pond that finally gets the moves, you actually continue and amplify those things out so that people begin to not only change the way they think, but then all of a sudden the opportunities they see. And then not only the opportunities they see, but they create moments of new opportunities that are available to them, change their life.
Exactly, because once you change the mindset, they start seeing opportunities that they didn't see before because their beliefs wouldn't allow it, or just that heaviness and that loss of hope.
Now, do you have a name for this 90-day program?
I do. I call it 90 Days to Transformation. And the power of that is week after week. Like you were saying, I don't just get that initial movement. Then I help coach people of what starts happening as you start moving, because you'll have all kinds of things happening. And we're touching base every week, and they have access to this whole success library of tools, resistance remedies, coaching tools, mindset makeovers, activations. So they're working on all of that at once.
So it really is a massive shift in just 90 days. And then do they have any follow-up with you after that? Or what are some of the keys that you use to keep people on track and on target afterwards that they want?
Yes, I've been working with them during those 90 days to give them the tools and to teach them how to use this process for themselves so they can continue to do that. And then I'm available to continue with them, so I do that with more individual coaching or putting them then into mastermind groups, into small groups where I can then coach as a group, because the other thing you want to do is plug into communities and start supporting each other and empowering each other.
That is awesome. I know that one of the keys to really being successful with a coach is having that person working with you ongoing. And I know, as we've gone through a couple of different segments here where Michelle has gone through and said, okay, here's what she does, here's how she does it, here's the systems that she has in place. And we come back, want to get into what really she does to connect with folks, and then what the experience is going to be like. We'll be right back after this. And welcome back to the Business Spotlight. I'm Pat Dewar. My guest today, Michelle Barr. MichelleBarr.com. She's been sharing how to find your purpose and your passion and send an invoice, so to speak. Really walking into a space, creating a space in your life where you're free to be who you were designed to be. Thank you, Michelle. I want to get into, how could somebody connect to you? What's the experience when they do?
A lot of times people will first come to my website, and I have a great free 21-day email course, and people will go through that first and really start seeing what's possible and also get a feel for me. And at that point, I start engaging with people. I love social media. I'm on my Facebook page. And between that, I'm really there showing up live every day and engaging. So my website is very dynamic. I'm putting articles up, I'm putting resources, video, audio. I just finished a free 10 days of transformation. So I do things like that, giving people content to get them moving. And what it looks like then is when you decide that you're ready for that 90 days to transformation, we have a conversation. So people contact me and we have a conversation and see what's a good fit and see if people are ready to get started.
So they just email you. I'm sure that they probably are putting it on the screen. What's the email address that they should have up there?
My email address, and it's on my website under the contact, is clientcare@michellebarr.com. So you can click on that on my website at michellebarr.com and then send me an email, and then we'll get you scheduled and we'll have that complimentary consultation and just really talk. And I'll start looking at what's going on and listen and see how I can offer support and guidance.
When that process begins, the first couple of weeks, just really trying to set vision, what's the process begin to look like?
I have a process where the first thing I do is I focus on the now. So we start right where you are, because everything that's showing up in your life that you don't want and not showing up in your life that you do want is clues. So we start there, and then we start unraveling to some of those core issues. One of my gifts is people will say, here's all the things that I don't like in my life, and they see no connection. And I start seeing those patterns. And I start raveling it down. We're all acting out just a very few core issues, and we're just acting them out in different ways. And so at the same time that we're unraveling that, I'm also wanting you to start moving forward. And some people really want a baby step, and I can do that, and then I attract big action takers. So I really personalize and individualize this program at the pace that you move, because if you're under more stress, you won't get the creation results.
Right. The biggest thing that I see that you do and I really encourage you to connect to Michelle in this, is that she has the ability to kind of see through your own noise and help you get where you really want to be. Now that may sound a little odd, but the reality is that once you really engage and get into this process, some of the head noise that's keeping you back from where you really want to be, she clears up. So that's the thing that I hope people see and will contact you and get into your program, because I know your program's affordable, and we're not going to give pricing right now because it's irrelevant. The biggest thing is that if they want to connect to you, they can. They can connect to you at your website.
Yes.
And then they should connect you on Facebook.
Yes, I'm at facebook.com/Michelle B. Barr.
Michelle B. Barr.
Yes.
There. And so, on your, is that your business page or is that your personal page?
That's my personal page. I have a business page also, and you find that at facebook.com/Michelle Barr Unlimited. And all of my social media links are at michellebarr.com. So if you come to michellebarr.com, you can connect with me there.
Very good. I know well, I'll just say I've seen the results of what you've taught others. I mean, I know one person in one of the networking groups. She heard what you had to say, and she began to step out, and her life has changed very rapidly, very rapidly. And that's the thing that's so important, is that so few people really will take action, but those that do will get results. And the more actions you take, the more results you take. But if you're taking the proper action, you create the results that you want, don't you?
Yes.
And you're really good at identifying what the proper actions are.
Because once you clear the mental and emotional clutter, you get inspiration. You get reconnected to and take inspired action. I don't want people just going out taking a bunch of action. I teach people to take that intuitive and empowered action.
That is really a key, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, in the last couple of minutes here, what would you want people to really know? What do you want them to do?
I really want people to look at whatever's going on right now and determine what intentions they've recently been setting. An intention is so powerful, and a lot of times we're throwing out a lot of intentions without being conscious of how powerful, then we start getting results. So before you take action, really getting connected to yourself, but be ready to take action, because as soon as you ask for something, the universe starts giving you these opportunities. And what I see most is when the opportunity shows up, people don't step into it. So I challenge people to see one opportunity that comes your way and step into it. And that's how things start happening.
Well, I know I've seen it even with recently. Like I say, some of the things that I've watched you create, and you created like that, it's magic. It's just amazing. And I love working with you, and I appreciate the work you're doing. I will encourage you folks, of the people that I've had on my show in the last few years, I've never seen anybody like Michelle that can create the results that she does. And then the cool thing is to be able to create the results that she does for you. So by all means, connect with her. Go to michellebarr.com. Get involved in her 90-day program. 90 days. Hello? I mean, it's not that much. This is the Business Spotlight. I'm Pat Dewar. I'm so thankful for you guys watching. I know that if you engage with Michelle, you'll get the results you want. Thanks again. We'll talk to you guys next time.